Hi friends, Alex Kais here, and welcome to A Home in Seattle. My main job as a realtor is to educate and protect people in real estate transactions. And believe me, I know, buying a home can be an esoteric and complex process. There's a lot of moving parts and a lot of people involved when you buy a house. You have the buyer's realtor, the seller's realtor, a lender, a title representative, an escrow officer, a home inspector, an appraiser, and yes, there's you. And while this all may be new to you, it doesn't have to be as complicated as it seems. Let's break down the process, and I'm even going to introduce you to one of my favorite lenders here in Seattle. So settle in and let's start from the beginning. A very good place to start. For a conventional mortgage, you'll need a minimum of about 5% of the purchase price of the home, but it all depends on the type of loan that you're going to get. When you first meet with your lender, they're going to go over all of the options available to you, including FHA, VA, or any possible down payment assistance programs. You do need to know that if you put anything less than 20% down, you're going to be hit with PMI, or private mortgage insurance. PMI varies, but you can generally expect about 1/2 to 1% of the loan spread out over the course of the year and rolled into your monthly mortgage payment. So PMI on a $500,000 loan will be about $2,500 a year. The moral of the story is that you shouldn't be too afraid of PMI. It costs less than you think, and you can easily make up the difference in the equity that you're going to be building in your home. Oh yeah, and you don't have to pay PMI forever. You only pay it until your principal is equal to 80% of the loan. After that, your lender is required to remove the fee. Let's start with the good news. As a buyer, it doesn't cost you anything upfront to work with a realtor. The seller is responsible for paying both their agent and me, your agent, from the proceeds of the home sale. But there are other costs. It's not just the seller who wants to get paid. When you buy a house, you'll need to factor in lender fees, closing costs, home inspections, HOA dues, home insurance, property taxes. And yes, this sounds like a lot. So let's take a moment to break it down really quick. Often referred to as points, lender fees will be calculated at a percentage of the loan, so budget for about 0.5%. A home inspection costs between $200 and $700 depending on if it's for a condo, a house, a pre-inspection walkthrough, or includes a full written report. You're going to need to put down earnest money when you write an offer. Earnest money acts as collateral on the contract, and you will lose it if you change your mind without cause. But don't worry, it's my job to protect that money. In the end, earnest money goes towards your down payment, so it's not technically an extra cost, but it does need to be liquid because you have to deposit it within 2 days of getting an offer accepted. I usually recommend setting aside about 3% of the purchase price of the home. You can expect to pay about $3,000 on title and escrow fees. You'll have to pay property taxes every month, but your lender will most likely set up an account which you partially fill up front. This account will hold a few months of property taxes, home insurance payments, and HOA dues if you buy a home with an HOA. The median home price in the Seattle area is $685,000. So let's run a quick scenario on the minimum cash needed to buy a $685,000 house. Okay, we're gonna put 5% as a down payment. We're gonna have lender fees of approximately $2,000. We'll get a home inspection, which costs about $500, and any prepaid property taxes and home insurance payments will total approximately $3,000, for a grand total of $39,750 needed to buy the average Seattle home. Now, this is gonna leave you with a monthly payment of about $3,500 a month. So I recommend getting familiar with mortgagecalculator.org in order to play with some of the numbers and figure out what monthly payment you're comfortable with. This is a great tool because it allows you to factor in things like homeowners insurance and PMI and any HOA dues, giving you a super accurate picture of what your monthly cost is going to be like. Play with the numbers a little bit until you settle on something that you're comfortable with, and make sure that as you're scrolling through Zillow or any listings on the multiple listing service, that you scroll down and actually look at what the property taxes are and what the HOA dues are. And this will allow you to plug in super accurate numbers into the mortgage calculator. Since Seattle's such a hot market, I really recommend getting fully pre-approved for a loan before even setting foot in a house. I'm on my way now to talk to one of my favorite lenders in the Seattle area, Julie Johnson. You can follow a link in the description to get pre-approved with her and start a conversation. But having a good lender on your side is super important. It helps you win in multiple offer situations and makes the process just a whole lot easier. So let's go have a chat with her and see what's up with lending.
I'm Julie Johnson. I'm with Cross Country Mortgage here in Lake Union, and I'm the Regional Vice President of this territory.
And how long have you been working in the Seattle area?
I have been locally here, goodness, probably 24 years now, and in this particular office, going on 8 years. Welcome. This is our Lake Union office. Nice to meet you. And this is the lovely Sabrina over here. Say hi, Sabrina. Hi. Everything today is virtual, but we seem to be connecting really well regardless and adapting. All right, and this is my office. To get pre-approved, basically, it's really, really simple. We have such a great website where our clients apply online, and then they'll be able to upload their secure documents into our secure portal. And it's really, really, really pretty easy. What happens next is we look at the application, and then we gather any additional documentation we need. We'll look at the income of their income, and then we'll pull credit to see what type of monthly debt they have. And then from there, we're going to determine, what they qualify for. So like a max qualification. The reason why someone would want to work with a local company like Cross Country, our team here, is because we only do one thing, and that is loans. When you go into a bank, their first priority is really checking accounts. And they do various things, and underwriting and processing of the actual loan will most likely happen out of state. And to be honest, most real estate agents know this. So if they get if there's an offer and there's two clients there, one says pre-approval with a big bank, and then they see another pre-approval where it shows a local lender here with an address here in Seattle. This is the one that most likely will always be taken because they understand, they know the companies out there.
That island, the view, these appliances, so much space, so cozy. I would cook in this kitchen. I would garden in the yard. Next is the fun part, house hunting. Consider your priorities in 3 categories: price, condition, and location. You might be able to find a beautiful home that you can afford, but not in the neighborhood that you love. You might be able to find a house that's within walking distance of work, that's a good price, but it might desperately need a new kitchen, a new roof, or a new water main line. Of course, the bigger your budget, the closer you can get to your priorities, but I find that the elusive perfect house is a myth. One of the favorite parts of my job is house hunting with clients and helping them see the possibilities in a house. I'll work with you to set your search criteria, and then we drive. Just kidding. Offers are all managed electronically these days. Once you find a house that you love, it all really boils down to how much you want to pay and how many contingencies or how many outs do you want in the contract. Remember, you're fronting earnest money with your offer or a deposit on the contract, and you need these contingencies to get out of the contract in case you want to and keep that earnest money. But at the same time, you want to balance this with the fact that a seller might be more likely to accept your offer the fewer contingencies there are. Here's a few contingencies that are possible. There's inspection contingencies, so house needs a new sewer line, you can back out and keep your earnest money. There are financing contingencies, so that if you lose your job or you're furloughed, you can back out and keep your earnest money. There are contingencies that make the offer contingent on the sale of your current home. There's even a brand new contingency that allows you to back out of the purchase in the case of a worldwide pandemic. Better late than never. Sometimes your offer won't be accepted at first, and the seller will make a counteroffer by changing the purchase price or striking off one of the contingencies. As your agent, it's my job to try and understand what the seller really wants. Maybe they're going through a divorce and they just want the deal to close as fast as possible. Or maybe they're trying to move into a new house and they want a little bit of cash up front before closing. This stage can become a back and forth process that I facilitate with the listing agent to negotiate on your behalf. Don't worry, I'm not your inspector. Inspections are usually done after an offer is accepted. It's a time when we bring a professional into the house and they go through every system and develop a laundry list of everything that's wrong. And I've been to a number of new construction houses even where the inspector finds plenty of things that need to be addressed. So when this happens, don't let it overwhelm you. We'll go over everything together and submit them to the seller to either try to get a credit or get them to actually fix the things that are wrong. Ultimately, it's up to you to determine what your comfort level is on what kind of projects you're going to take on in your new home purchase. When things get really busy in Seattle, homes sell in just a few days and people often waive inspection contingencies. Sellers love to see this because an inspection contingency is super powerful. It's a 5 to 10 day period where the buyer can go through and if they find anything that they don't like, they can really back out for any reason that they want. Maybe you don't like the commute. Maybe you smell something funny in the basement. Maybe the deck is about to collapse. Inspections are important, though. In a competitive market, we'll make sure to do one before submitting an offer so that we can submit it with peace of mind. So one of the most nerve-wracking steps in buying a house is having an appraiser go through the house and making sure that it's worth what you want to pay for it. You see, this step happens because the lender is just making sure they don't want to give you more money than the house is worth. In case you default on the loan, they want to be able to recoup their investment. This really only becomes a hurdle when these hot markets come and buyers get into bidding wars with each other and build up the house way more than the market says it's worth. As a buyer, if this happens to you, then we have a few different options. We can go back to the seller and renegotiate, try to come up with a price that's a little bit more market friendly. Or you can meet in the middle and come up with the cash that the lender won't give you. Part of my job is analyzing the house before putting in an offer so that you're not paying more than market price and getting into this situation in the first place. Okay, we're back at Cedar and Spokes, a really great coffee shop that you should definitely check out if you're in the Pike Place area. The title and escrow company takes over during the closing process. Title people handle documents and escrow people handle money. These folks record all paperwork at the courthouse, which officially transfers ownership to you, and they transfer funds from your lender to the seller and any other lien holders. There's not much for you to do as a buyer at this process. Just be available for phone calls and emails, and make sure to sign any paperwork that comes your way. And if you can help it, don't plan any really big trips during this process. I visited family in London when we bought a house and it complicated things a little bit. And then finally you move in. On the day of closing, paperwork gets sent to the courthouse and it officially is all over when the courthouse confirms receipt. Owning a home, especially in the Seattle area, is a huge accomplishment. It might take a little while, but the peace of mind that it brings and the wealth you'll start building for yourself and for your family is totally worth it. So if you're thinking about making a home in Seattle, send me a message and we'll start chatting about how to get the process started. And you can follow the link in the description to apply for a loan with Julie. Until next time.